contributing. I would like to first
This
say
meeting is being recorded.
I'd like to first say a big thank you to all of the contributors that have, contributed to today. I would also like to say thank you to everyone else that has come in here today to join us. Today marks a very momentous day in our journey for TravelTank. Like I always tell my team, there's so much more to come, but this is the beginning, and we hope that this maiden live interaction will be the first of many. So thank you once again.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Yemi. Okay, before we start, I would like to do like a brief roll call of our speakers. Mr. Charles, the CEO of Travel, yes. Miss Annabelle, are you in with us? Miss,
yes, I'm here.
Okay. Mrs. Oluwabumi, are you up? Are you up with us? Okay. Miss Margaret from Fly Up Travel.
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, fantastic. Mr. Henry of Expatico, are you with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, good. Okay, the webinar is going to be a panel discussion. I'll be throwing a few questions, and based on your expertise, you would just have to give me your honest opinion on all of these questions. The goal is towards problem solving and solution sharing. So this, to the end of this webinar, we're going to be like, this is going to be like a platform to, half fix issues in the travel industry. Now let's talk. In all frankness, even before the coronavirus outbreak, the outlook of the world economy, especially for developing countries like Nigeria, was fragile, as GDP growth was estimated to be at 2.5% in early 2019. The tourism industry was hit so hard, and the pandemic, although happened after, only seemed to have revealed our weaknesses. Where do you think we got it wrong before, and how do we fall back on track? I'll be directing this question to Mr. Henry. I mean, he's already here. So, Mr. Henry, what do you think? What do you think we got it wrong? What are the things what are the loopholes that we should have fixed before the pandemic that had worsened the issues, the challenges we're facing today?
Right. Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor, and congratulations to TravelTank on the first anniversary. Well, I should say that, I mean, I remember just like yesterday when the pandemic hit, and obviously no one in the world was ready for it. It was a blow. No one ever imagined that any of such can ever happen, right? But now one thing we can't take away is the fact that humans need to travel. There must be movement. So everyone, everywhere, globally was affected. You couldn't travel to either the nearby countries or even to other continents and all of that. So it was a problem for everybody. But where it became, driving it down home to Nigeria, where it was a big problem or a big challenge for us, is that what it revealed was that we have not harnessed tourism opportunities in Nigeria. We have not promoted the Nigerian brand. We had not promoted Nigeria as a destination. So during the pandemic, what we found out was that everyone who needed to, now I'll speak particularly on leisure travel, everyone who wanted to visit anywhere were looking for other destinations to go to that were, easy to access because of COVID restrictions and all of that. And if I remember vividly, it was during the pandemic that the destination Egypt opened up, right? That was the period when there were issues, the back and forth with the Nigerian government and Dubai, and immediately Egypt opened up as a destination. Now, we didn't even have anything to sell, right? So I'm talking first of all as Nigerians patronizing or recognizing Nigeria as a destination. We didn't have anywhere to go to. People started, it was during the pandemic, people started looking for other places to go to. Since I can't go to Dubai, I can't go to this other destination. Where else can I have something similar in Nigeria? That's when, I got married during the pandemic, and for honeymoon, we have to start looking for, okay, where can we go to in this Nigeria that since we can't go elsewhere, since we can't go outside, that is one. So we didn't have destinations already promoted. Now, even for what I would call exporting tourism, which means having other people come in Nigeria, there was no destination being promoted. So I guess that was where it hit on us. We're not ready. We didn't have destinations during the pandemic. Other destinations opened up. Egypt, I remember the Egypt very well because I was almost at the center of that whole thing. Egypt opened up because they had destinations ready. They had the tourism board effectively working, and were ready to partner with different travel tourism boards and all of that. So I think that's what that was where we were not prepared as a country. We didn't have any destination to sell. We were all about going to Dubai, going to London, going to South Africa, going to every other place except Nigeria. So that's why I think that's where I think we weren't ready. We didn't have destinations to promote in Nigeria.
Thank you very much, Mr. Henry. Miss, I don't know if it's a Miss or Mrs. Mrs. Bonnie or Miss. What do you think was our fallout prior to the pandemic itself? I mean, Mr. Henry has already given us the fact that some countries had a structured system. What is your own opinion?
Like you rightly said, structures already put in place. But for Nigeria, you know how unstructured we are about a lot of things. And I also believe that inflation right now has contributed, massively to where we are now. Travel then was easier before COVID. It was cheaper before COVID. Then you could put up tour packages and have, 15, 10, 20 people, 30 people on the trip. So COVID happened and we all realized that, okay, let's first of all, whatever money you had, it's savings, right? It's gonna go because no business is happening. So you have to fall back on your savings. No one could do anything. And right now, post-COVID, there is serious inflation in Nigeria up to about 19 to 20%. The inflation has risen that high. And now we are left with, okay, where do we go from here? I mean, people don't really have a lot of money to feed on, to take care of their families with the ever increasing cost of everything in this country. So let alone travel. So I believe that where we should be focusing our energy on right now would be looking at reducing the cost of inflation, also subsidizing aviation for fares, airline fares to be cheaper so that more people can travel. A lot of people can't barely feed right now, let alone take trips, except it's essential trip. The middle income earners and the wealthy people are still able to afford these things, but travel shouldn't be a luxury, right? It is a necessity where everyone should be able to wake up and go to anywhere they want to go to at any point in time. So we need a vibrant economy for us to be able to make this work. So that's what I believe.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Bunny. So what I could grasp from your contribution was that we have to work towards ensuring that inflation rate is reduced so that people can enjoy the benefits, the benefits of travel isn't just restricted to certain types of people, but to everyone, so that it can be accessible. And that means it's going to throw a lot of money into the industry itself and, you know, help sustain the industry itself. Thank you very much for that, Mrs. Sorry, forgive me. Is it a Miss or Mrs.?
Miss.
Okay, forgive me for that. Okay, then. Thank you so much. Yeah. Another question will be about collaboration. Okay, we know how very important. In fact, we've heard, like, we found out that some travel agencies have like affiliate programs and all of that. Sometimes they also have a connection relationship with airlines and, you know, the Ministry of Industry, all of these stakeholders that make up the industry itself. It is quite imperative that we have like a sort of way where trust is engendered, trust is encouraged. Now, it's so much that partnership helps to not just sustain the industry, but also ensures success when it comes to management and in terms of marketing. But trust factor, that is one of the things that seems to be what's missing, the missing piece in this collaboration. This was even what kept a lot this was what even kept a lot of businesses resilient during the pandemic. Seeing the value of trust, how do we ensure that transparency is respected and exercised amongst stakeholders? Miss Bunny, sorry. The
Is
question is
that
over
me?
to yes, yes.
Okay. So among stakeholders, it's a very viable question. Businesses have come and gone because of trust, literally. And it really depends on the legacy you're trying to build here. Because I believe that you cannot build a business outside of who you are. Your core values will always shine through. You know,
Yeah.
so it is imperative that first of all you do your research as to who you are in bed with, and also set up structures to protect you, because whatever research you do, I mean, if the person doesn't have, or the organization do not have integrity or a legacy to protect, then you are also exposed. So once you're able to do your research and then set up structures to protect you, then you only hope you made a good call. So, but my appeal to business owners or stakeholders in the industry is to conduct business ethically. I've literally had to take my business away from an airline broker. I won't mention the name because they were not dealing with integrity. You would send them money and you want to buy the ticket, or the client is asking for a refund. On the same day you're sending the money, they will tell you, we can't refund you. And it doesn't make sense, you know, or the airline refunds money, you know, you apply for a refund on the tickets, the refund money, and they will let you know that that money has been refunded. You literally have to look for this money, make a lot of posts and a lot of emails that keep passing you around, you know, stuff like that. So integrity, having integrity when building a business, you know, is, I can't overemphasize its importance. So that is what I think.
Oh, thank you so much, Miss Bunny, for that wonderful contribution. Yeah. So I will be also directing this question to Mr. Charles, CEO of Quest Limited. What do you think we could get right to ensure that trust is actually encouraged in the travel system, so that such that stakeholders come together to ensure that, there is capacity for problem solving and growth. Mr. Charles.
Thank you for having me here, and good morning all. Basically, trust is, like you rightly said, is an integral factor in any business collaboration. And how do you ensure that? The fact is, you parties involved would have to do their due diligence as much as they can, and also there should be, should I say, organizations or
quickly seem to drop on one day.
hello. Okay, and there's another point is where the we have organizations like what you have, like Nanta.
Drop eventually.
I think someone is interfering.
Mercy, can you mute?
Okay, can I go on? Okay, so as I was saying, that's where we have organizations like Nanta in place, where members, anybody that wants to do any business with anybody would have to be a registered member. And from there, in as much as it's still not possible, you have situations where people go into business with the sole purpose of trying to defraud the other party, but at least that way we can have a fallback situation where maybe you can actually trace the company, because we've had situations where monies have been exchanged hands, and at the end of the day, you can't even trace it. There is no known office of the person you are dealing with. The agency would fold up and there will be no recourse for you to actually get your money. But if we have all these things in place, I think that would go a long way in trying to curb the issue of trust. That's one way of looking at it.
Thank you so much, Mr. Charles. So according to Mr. Charles, if we put in place an exclusive association where people can come together and feel more like partners, this trust factor can be strengthened amongst stakeholders. Thank you so much for that, Mr. Charles. I will also be directing the same question to Mrs. Oluwabumi, the founder of Easy Travels Connect. Mrs. Bumi, are you on the call? Okay, since she's not in yet.
Yes, you
Okay.
need to mute her.
Hello, everyone.
Oh, okay. Hello. Hello. Good afternoon.
Good morning.
Welcome to. Sorry. Good morning. Welcome to our.
Good morning.
Welcome to the webinar. What do you think about trusts? What do you think about bringing in trusts and ensuring that trust is strengthened amongst collaborators, amongst stakeholders in the travel industry? Early in the webinar, I mentioned that during the pandemic, travel agencies that were capable, that they were able to be resilient. I mean, travel agencies that were able to bounce back shortly after the pandemic were the ones who actually encouraged, who found means to, ensure that collaboration, ensure that there is some sort of partnership between them, relationship between them and other stakeholders like airlines, some affiliate groups, etc., etc. So, but the thing about collaboration is that when trust is not in a relationship or in that sort of collaboration, it's bound to fall out. So how can we encourage trust in this regard?
Thanks for the question. Like my other colleagues have said, and we all know how important trust is, especially in this industry. And obviously, I'm sure I'm not, and thank you for saying we should be as honest as possible, So obviously, when you're dealing with your client, you just have to create that trust, that what's it called? That relationship banding with trust, because you know a lot of travel agents, and I do not blame customers because they've been defrauded a lot of times, and a lot of travel agents are attacked scammers, fraudsters, you understand. So it is important, and I would say that I've experienced this personally, collaboration. You know, after we're all picking back after the pandemic, there were lots of collaborations. So I would say that I experienced this personally because I and some other companies were trying to, one of our colleagues said, brought about, what's it called, Egypt tourism. And with this Egypt tourism, they opened their country with Egypt, their tourism. And with this, you could travel there if you have at least 20 um, customers and you get visa on arrival. So, you know, because of the way the whole thing was, we're also trying to pick up. There's no way you could, like a particular travel company can come up with 20 people. So you have to collaborate. I personally had this experience. I had about 5 to 6 people that were ready to travel to Egypt, and you know, a lot of things happened. So it is important. Money was lost. I had to personally, you know, bring back the money to refund clients. And even with, he mentioned NATA registration, even with NATA registration, we could not still trace some companies to get the money back. So I just think this trust thing starts with us individually. Let's just try to be as honest as possible. Let's try to, you know, how do I put this? Let's just try to, you know, try to rewrite our stories whereby people see travel agents, travel companies as scammers. Let's just try as much as possible, personally, individually. Let's just try to rewrite this narrative. I think it is very, very important. That is my opinion to this.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Bumi. That is a very, very key, very, very valid point where, you know, trust doesn't have to be with just 2 people. It has to start with 1 person. As an individual, you need to be ensure that trust starts from you. You need to ensure that people you work with find a way to, you know, rely on you. And that is a very, very important virtue that should be imbibed by people who are involved in the travel industry. And if that is a common virtue, there's a possibility that collaboration will be strengthened in the industry. Now, all of these questions being thrown today, we're all covering the issue on COVID, the post-COVID implication, and how initiatives can be put together to ensure that the tourist industry itself is sustainable. And by discussion today, we've mentioned that trust, means on how to ensure that trust is encouraged such that it's enough to sustain the industry. And also, we've also learned of the mistakes that we made prior to the pandemic and how to avoid them before it blows out again, or to prevent a repetition of it again after the COVID period. Now, I'm going to be moving up to, you know, the issue of technology. Now, during the pandemic, companies that were based online, companies who could manipulate technology, where some of the companies were able to, you know, manage the storm during the pandemic. I mean, a lot of companies who weren't given to taking charge of advanced technology fell out. And the first question I'm going to ask is, we know that the impact of technology on travel and the tourism industry has been undeniably profound. It's easy for you to just wake up in the morning, decide to book a ticket, and it's set for you in less than an hour. Do you think that, you know, there is more to just ease? There's more to just convenience, do you think there are still more problems left to be solved? And how do you envision the future through tech, the future of travel through tech? I will be throwing that question to Ms. Margaret, the Director of Fly Up Travel and Tours Limited.
Yeah, good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Hi.
Yeah, hello. Thank you for having me.
Oh, sure.
I'm really enjoying the whole thing because it's really bouncing back on us, the agents. You know, whenever we have any travel challenge, we are the head that bears the burden.
Exactly.
Yes. Talking about technology and its revolution on travel, I will really give a thumb up to IT management because it has been a very big relief, at least from all ramifications. We can really say that technology, minus technology, we are done for in this business. You can bear with me that one of the greatest problem we have in this business is that if you're not, most times you will find yourself issuing tickets, and at the end of the day, the customer keeps calling you. I didn't see my name on the manifest. The airline said they didn't find my name, and you'll be so embarrassed. But I think technology has really helped us a lot trying to fix all of this burden. But we in Nigeria here as a developing country, we still need to do more. We need to source more on technical stability, especially in this our business. Because most of the time I tell myself that I don't really run this business. The business practically runs me. But every now and then you're up there, they don't care your time and everything. But I think if Nigerian on our own end, we have a very sustainable technology that is suitable and active every now and then, it will help us a lot. Sometimes you want to do one thing, is either that you'll be facing a network issue, which we know that really it do happen, but it is more constant in our own side. And it makes us do a lot of work instead of having a bit relaxed mind when you do your business. Your clients will keep calling you, just as the last topic treated now, they see travel agents as scammers. So if they get to the airport and there is one little misunderstanding, the way they will be calling you, as if, yes, you have scammed us, you know, and I know as technology has done us a lot of good, it needs to be improved so that it will give us, because when someone calls you at the airport and said, I didn't see myself, they said they didn't see my name in the manifest, what, this and that, it will be like, I issued tickets from the system. So system cannot really generate a ticket number if not from the system. So why would they check the system and still say that you are not in the system? Your information are not in the system. So you see that in as much as technology is really helping us, we really still need to source for the deeper sustainability of this technology to make our work easier and for our business not to run us, because it is practically running us. We are not running it. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ms. Margaret. Okay.
Yeah.
That was a really funny clip right there. Yeah, truly. Technology has helped ease up some of the issues we've had, but it can still be improved. There's so much we can actually explore, so much that we have to fix. But it would be best if, you know, other improvements are done on the end of the government, on the end of availability of access rather to technology, etc., and also transparency. we don't have so much technology out there that encourages transparency. But I'm not the one to answer the question. I will still throw the question to Mr. Henry. Please, what do you think is missing? What do you think technology hasn't solved, or what do you think technology can actually improve? We can actually improve upon on technology to help fix. Mr. Henry, it's over to you.
Yeah, thanks once again. I've been listening, interestingly, to contributions from other panelists, and it's an interesting one, to be honest. So this particular discussion is very dear to my heart, because understanding the evolution of the travel industry, a few years back, it used to be a brick and mortar system in the travel industry, such that if you live in, speaking about Lagos, if you live in Ikeja and you want to buy a ticket, you can't just go to, well, even though there has always been an airline website, but not everyone knows how to navigate through the airline website. So you want to buy through an agency. Perhaps the only agency has an office in Lekki. So you have to drive all the way from Ikeja to Lekki to just buy a travel ticket and go back. Even in the case where you can even call them, I remember, I understand that, there was no e-ticket, right? You have to print out the ticket, send it to them like a mailing system, they have to carry the paper ticket. I mean, right now, you don't even need any paper tickets to go to, just have your PNR and, you're good. But I mean, that was the system back then. And over time, it has evolved now where we have more OTAs, springing up, and all of that. But I particularly feel that there are lots of unharnessed opportunities in what I would call travel tech, right? Because, and I'll take a cue from the financial services industry, the fintech. One thing that particular industry has done has been to decentralize financial services. And I would link it to the previous discussion about collaboration. We know that there are lots of fintech companies, service companies. I would not want to mention names, but if you go to the engineering of those companies, of those fintech services, many of them have similar, or they work with the same service providers, right? So it has decentralized the system, having companies have access to either APIs and all of this. Now, narrowing it further down. Yes, we've solved the problem of people having to, you don't need to leave the comfort of your home. You can just go to www.traveltank.com and you can always check first, oh, okay, this and that. But there is one, I had some discussions with some colleagues either earlier this year or last year, and we're discussing, and I said something. I said, one of the reasons why we have not gotten anywhere in travel tech, we're just scratching the surface, is because of the dynamic system of the travel industry. There seems to always be a need for a human touch, especially when it comes to travel consulting. It is one thing to be able to buy tickets. It is another thing for you to travel consult. Now, there are technologies that aid this. I mean, you have Shepherd, Travel Doc, and all of this. But what is the effectiveness of those technologies? They are effective, but I believe that they can be more effective. By more effective, I mean further making this information out there for people to access. That is one. Correct information, by the way, correct information. Because I once had a situation where I consulted using one of those platforms and it was wrong information. It cost me something, but at least, they're doing a good job on their own. So we need to be able to integrate and make sure that technology can aid in consulting. It can tell you that, okay, based on this passport details that you have, based on these travel documents that you have, based on the layover you have, based on this that you have, based on that, then I need to just tell you that, okay, this is what you need. This, you would need this document, you wouldn't need this, you would need that, right? So that is one. And two is that really travel tech needs to be decentralized, right? A lot can be done with technology. I usually ask myself, in as much as I know that, okay, the passport is it's a very sensitive document, but why should I always have to travel with my passport all the time? Why can't we adopt having to just have a barcode or scan, have an e-passport? By I don't mean e-passport or by e-passport, I mean you don't have a paper document, you have it on your phone or something. You get to the airport, you scan, and it goes through, right? You don't have to bring out your physical documents. Why can't we also have opportunities where travel companies can have people have their travel documents, right, with them? Now, I understand the privacy and security part of that, but these are just suggestions, and it's just to let us know that we really haven't scratched the surface. The travel industry is vast, and technology can even further fast track the evolution of technology of the travel industry in Nigeria. So I think we're barely scratching the surface. There is a whole lot more we can do, especially when it comes to travel consulting. There are other aspects, but I would not want to just bore you. I just picked that out, especially in travel consulting. Thank you.
Oh, Mr. Henry, boring, you're not. Okay, thank you so much for that. We have a lot more to do concerning technology, and the fact that we're actually human beings. Naturally, there's always something to fix, there's always a problem to fix, naturally. And that also will extend to the clients out there, people who would love to travel, who are travel enthusiasts, who would want to go out there and all that. So travel there's still a need for, technology to fix that problem. Now, that aside, I'm going to shift the focus away from just the COVID situation or the post-COVID situation. We're going to move the discussion towards something that's actually occurring, but something that's actually happening right now. Now, when we talk about travel, we tend to give too much focus on the international aspect. Everybody wants to go to Dubai, everybody wants to go to Maldives, everybody wants to go to Bali and all that. But recently, a popular travel destination, Dubai, like I mentioned, placed an indirect restriction. You got to a point that you had to be 45 years old to access Dubai, to be able to get a visa to Dubai. Okay, that was in reaction to a malfeasance carried out by some unruly Nigerians. I mean, there hasn't been a particular factual statement that they might be Nigerians, which actually led us to the situation. Now, how do we, I mean, it's good, everyone loves to travel and all that, but most of the time it is quite common for you to talk to an international travel enthusiast that, why don't you look in? I mean, Nigeria is filled up with beautiful places to explore. Pending time things get better or something, or pending time we get to the point where, like Mr. Henry said, we wouldn't need a passport, we wouldn't need a visa to get there and all that. How do we encourage, travel enthusiasts to look back home? What can be done to make local tourism seem more appealing? How do we encourage people to, take a breather, go to Port Harcourt, go to Calabar, pick out some of the nice sightseeing spaces and sit down there and have fun? So what can we do to encourage? And I'm not talking about just in terms of marketing alone, but in terms of other areas. How can we encourage people to, be given to go for local tourism? I'll be directing the question to Mr. Charles. Mr. Charles, are you around?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Thank you very much for this. And firstly, there's no how we would do this without the serious input of the government. Okay, COVID-19, like you rightly said, exposed us to a lot of uncertainties, and believe you, it has actually been an eye-opener. I will take one or two sectors of the tourism industry. Let's start from let's say the medical tourism. A lot of people, a lot of Nigerians, well-to-do Nigerians, during that COVID era, during the COVID restrictions, they had the means. Some of them could even charter as in private planes or private medical ambulances to take them out of the country. But because we live in a global society now, what's happening in Europe, in America, affects us here, directly or indirectly. Even those that actually have the funds and the means to travel out during that period, they couldn't leave. So now imagine if we have robust and adequate medical centers scattered all over the country. Imagine the kind of money we would have made during that COVID period, just on medical tourism alone. People wouldn't have to go to India or try to fly out. Even if we concentrate on just the West, as in the West Coast, Nigeria being a medical hub, imagine a lot the influx of foreign effects that will come in. All these things that we are killing ourselves now over effects will be a thing of the past. That is one. Then even the leisure tourism that we're also talking about. Yeah, a couple of individuals and government agencies have tried to set up one or two centers here and there. Let's take example the Tinapa and the Obudu Ranch. But you find out that these places they've already been run down. Tinapa was set up to be a cash cow. Years down the line, nothing is happening there. It is a dead project. So the question now is, what then do we do with such projects? We need not just government, we also need private individuals that will come in now, take over, invest in these things, maybe like more like private, maybe like, I don't know how they're going to do it, but more like in partnership with the government, take over these resorts, run them the way they should be run, and people, I tell you, people will come in to visit the country. And also, even we ourselves would also try to stop the marketing Nigeria as a destination. You see what Rwanda is doing. As they've gone ahead, even for sports football enthusiasts. Arsenal, you see in Arsenal jerseys is there boldly written, visit Rwanda. That is, they are trying to encourage people to visit the country as a tourist destination. This, if we get our government to do such things, I think it will go a long way. And you can imagine the spiral effect, the ripple effect that it's going to have in the economy. Jobs will be created, money will come in. That's I think that's one way to look at it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Charles. And ladies and gentlemen, I think that will be all for the questions. If you have like any questions to ask, you can drop on the chat box. It will be attended to. But know that not all the questions might be attended to because, you know, our time is fast spent. But regardless, I would love to encourage to introduce our CEO, Mr. Yemi Smith, to talk to make an address if he has anything to say. Mr. Yemi.
Good morning once again. Can everyone hear me? Mercy, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes, sir. I can hear you.
Yes, we can hear, sir.
Fantastic. First of all, I would like to say thank you to all the contributors and everyone who, gave their opinions. I feel that, this was actually a really, really impactful and enlightening conversation that we had. And it's good to see that, from listening to everyone speak, that we are somewhat aligned in where we think we are and where we think we need to go. My take on all of this, just carrying on from all the contributors, is that partnership is definitely key. As my mother always says, a tree cannot make a forest. Now, when we talk about partnership, we're also talking about partnership between us as agents. The last contributor spoke about tourism, inbound tourism. Yes, we need the government's help in terms of, rehabilitating some of these tourist destinations. But at the same time, us as agents, we need to partner with each other to enable inbound tourism to sell. Some of us are located in Lagos, so how are we going to sell tourism maybe in the north if we are not in partnership with someone from the north or an agency in the north? So collaboration between ourselves, I believe, is very, very important and something that we need to start pushing more and more. Now, of course, with collaboration, comes with that idea of trust. Um, Trust, not just in pricing, but also trust in terms of um, the information that we are passing to not only ourselves as agents, but also to our customers. As we are all aware, the industry is very, very competitive. Us as agents, we have the bad luck because we are facing competition from all directions. We have competition from the airlines, we have competition from the GDS, we have competition from international online aggregators, we have competition from even the airline staff, at the airports. They are now competing with us to sell tickets privately. So trust between ourselves is very important. And also with that trust, if a client can trust us, if a client can trust us with the information that we are sending out, okay, then at least we know that we are doing our own little bit in giving that client confidence that, okay, an agency is the right way to go than maybe going directly to an airline or buying a ticket at the airport, etc. So trust not just amongst ourselves, but trust when it pertains to our clients, giving that client that confidence. We were talking about technology, and of course, technology is key in the industry. But it's very important, as Mr. Henry had said, that even with technology, there's always going to be, that customer or that particular service you're providing that will always need some sort of personal touch. Okay, so I think when we think about technology, we also have to add that sort of relational dimension to it. Okay, because even us as a company, TravelTank, when we have our B2C customers come to us, yes, we like them to book online, but we still get calls about, oh, do I need a visa? Do I need this? Even though, yes, these information can be accessed online, some customers still want that human touch. Some customers still want, to hear you say it. So I don't think, like Mr. Henry has said, technology is never going to trump that aspect of a relational touch throughout the booking process. But also on a macro level, as Madam Flyup was saying, is that we need to also improve on the technological infrastructure within the company, within the country. We need to, improve on our IT literacy as a nation, because there are some things whereby you don't necessarily need to come to an agent for, you can go online, etc., etc. On if you're taught on how to use computers, if you're taught on how to make bookings, etc., then it sort of limits or reduces the strain that us agencies have when it comes to making bookings and issuing tickets for our customers. So overall, I think we need to understand that we are at a point in the industry and in the lifespan of our businesses whereby client confidence is really important. The clients having confidence in a travel agency or a travel management company or an online company, saying one thing and doing another thing is wrong. The client needs to have confidence that we are travel experts, that we know what we are saying. If they ask us for information, we are giving them the right information, be it visas, be it ATVs, etc. So confidence is key. And then again, because a tree cannot make a forest, one cannot know everything, which is why it all circles back to this idea of partnerships. Okay, being able to lean on one another. Okay, me being able to ask you guys for advice, you guys being able to ask us for advice. And that is why at TravelTank we're also trying to build this sort of ecosystem whereby we are able to communicate with each other in a seamless manner so that we can foster ideas that will give our clients more confidence. So that's my take. I really just want to say once again, thank you so much to everybody, especially to our Mercy for being the anchor. And please, if you guys have any questions that we can quickly go through, Mercy, please take over.
Okay, so we don't have so much questions. I can see a series of contribution here. So from Abina Oladapo, she says domestic tourism is an interesting discourse. There are several factors that limit the growth of domestic tourism in Nigeria, some of which only the government can help fix, e.g. insecurity. However, I believe incentivizing domestic tourism would go a long way in encouraging people to visit these destinations. Partner with financial organizations to allow easy payment is one way. There's so much that can be done. I rest my case. Yes, if you have so much more to talk about, you can actually continue the conversation on our Instagram page and on our Twitter and Facebook page. I'll pick that up and we can talk about it. Hopefully in the next webinar that will be hosted, we'll try to deal with that. Then Julie Ifyonu says that I'm happy I participated. It's encouraging and educative. It strengthened my mind that I'm at the right place. Julie, thank you so much. We hope that in the next webinar you'll also be present. Thank you so much for that. I would like to use this opportunity to say thanks to all of our speakers, namely Mr. Charles, the CEO of Travel Quest Limited, Ms. Boni, founder of Travivo Travel and Migration, Mrs. Bumi, founder of Easy Travels Connect, Mrs. Margaret, director of the Fly Up Travel, and finally, Mr. Henry, the founder and CEO of Expactico. Now, if you're just getting to know TravelTank for the first time, please know that TravelTank is a fully Nigerian-owned online travel agency that provides end-to-end travel services. We make it fun and easy for users to book various travel products such as flights, hotels, car hire, protocol services, and travel insurance at affordable prices in just a matter of clicks. For all your travel planning and bookings, please visit www.traveltank.com. And now, before we sign off, I would love to tell you about TravelTank Anniversary Contest. In celebration of our first year in business, we are opening up opportunities to travel influencers and content creators to win a trip to Rwanda. Now, all you need to do is just post a travel picture, a real life adventure related picture with an engaging caption along with contest hashtags, hashtag TravelTank Storytellers, hashtag contest. Follow and tag us across all social media platforms, that's Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook. Note that contest entrance account must have 2,500 followers or more. To enter, you have to fill up the form. The link is up on our Instagram platform, which is at TravelTank Nigeria. This contest, however, is proudly sponsored by Rwand Air. For more information, please feel free to reach out to us by email at info@traveltank.com. If you're interested or you want to know more or you want to make bookings or engage our services, please, you can do so same via this mail. Thank you very much once again for celebrating with us via this webinar. We hope that in the next webinar that will be hosted, we'll have more of you. We'll see you and thank you so much. My name still remains Olatunji Messi Temilola. Thank you once again. We see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.